we cherish Sanya. We cherish her being here. We cherish the role that she plays in the life of our church and the role that we've been able to play in her life. And so I just thought it would just be so appropriate for us to talk to her about winning the gold medal in the 400 meters. Now, Sanya, you won other medals. This is not the only medal, but this one was special because it was your first individual gold medal at the Olympics. Talk to me about how that felt to finally reach that goal.
First, I have to say good morning to everybody and just thank you, and I love you guys so much. The support I get from you guys, I can feel it, and I just want to say thank you before we even start. I love you guys. But PC, how do you describe walking into your destiny, into living your dream? When I was 9 years old, I dreamt of that moment of being an Olympic champion. Ooh, I don't want to get emotional.
Okay.
But it's like living your dream, and I believe that God places dreams inside of us. And so to be able to realize that dream, I just feel so alive, and I just feel so close to God. So it was just walking into my dreams. It was a fairy tale.
Yeah. And you know, they don't know this about you, but they don't know, the church doesn't know. They may be able to pick up on it, but they don't know about your walk with God. And you really believe that God has called you to run, that this is the way God uses you.
Yes.
Who told you that? Where did you get that from?
Well, I believe that when you're doing something that comes from God, you feel it. And so for a long time, I kind of battled with that. Like, you know, I want to do more for God, but, you know, and I want to be in church more. But I realized that my pulpit was the track. And that when people reached out to me and they say they were so inspired and they're so motivated, I'm like, that's what I want to do for people. So if I keep running, I'm doing what God wants me to do. And a lot of times when I'm at the track and I'm training, I'm working out, and I literally, it's when I have my most clarity. It's the times that I talk to God the most, and I feel most at peace with him. So I know I'm doing what God wants me to do because he feels so real when I'm out there doing it. So I know with 100% that that's what he wants me to do.
That's great. That's great. Now, we not only watched you win, I guess last month, but we watched your disappointment, and we saw your disappointment at getting a bronze medal in 2008. And there have been a lot of things that took place since that time. And I would imagine many of those here would assume that, okay, you know, you lost, you got determined, and it was just an easy road back. Talk to us about some of the obstacles that you had to face between 2008 and the disappointment of losing to a Horagoo.
I'm not going to tell you what he really calls her.
Her name is a Horagoo. I call her a Horagoo. So talk about that. Because, you know, a lot of people, they've got dreams and they believe that they're doing what God wants them to do. But sometimes we think it's a straight line to success.
I really wouldn't have enough time to tell you guys everything that transpired between 2008 and 2012. PC knows a lot of my stories because I lean on him so much. I call him. I don't know how Pastor Clark does it with a congregation this big. I don't know how he's able to be like, call me. You know, how do you find the time? But it's been a lot. And between 2008, if I just briefly can share some of my testimony, I was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disease. So I was diagnosed with Behçet's disease, and I would get really bad skin lesions and mouth ulcers and joint pains and fatigue. And as a quarter miler, you don't want to have to deal with extra fatigue. The workouts are enough. But I knew in my heart I didn't have Behçet's. The more I read about it, the more I talked to people, I was like, God, I'm not claiming this disease. I know this is not this. I don't have this disease. But of course, it was very trying to go through that time of my life when I went from the only thing I had was a cold every now and then to now having this rare disease that doctors kept saying, we think it's Behçet's, but it's not Behçet's. And then I got injured in 2010, pulled my quad for the first time, never had a season-ending injury. 2010, I pulled my quad, dealing with some other stuff off the track. So I had a lot of obstacles in my way. But just because of the grace of God, that I'm here today, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. But like PC was kind of leading to, even on this road, when you're doing what God wants you to do and you're planning and everything, it's like you feel like it should be perfect, there are going to be obstacles. But if you just keep believing, keep looking upwards and not looking out, great things can happen. So it's just phenomenal.
That's terrific. That's terrific. Now, we're in the season again in the life of our church where we're urging people to get into small groups. And, every athlete, every professional athlete has a small group to help them reach their dreams. And, of course, we know one member of your small group is sitting over there. Yeah. The one and only Bruce. No, I mean, not Bruce. That's not Bruce. Big
That's Bruce.
Stand up, Bruce. Many people don't know Bruce is Sanya's coach. Great member of our church. He and his wife, Veronica, they're wonderful children. So, but tell us about the importance of that small group, and who are some of those people who keep you going?
Well, it's very, very important on this journey when you're trying to accomplish something that is great. Mm-hmm. That you have a great team. And so I have been very, very, very fortunate to surround myself with some great people. And my team starts with my family. Mm-hmm. My mom and my dad are my managers. And even at 27, it's good to have your parents in your corner. Mm-hmm. Every now and then you need somebody that really has your back. Mm-hmm. And so my mom and my dad are my managers. My sister, who's here this morning, is my stylist. Very important.
Team style.
And she's my absolute best friend, and she hurts more than I do. When I lose, my sister hurts more than I do, and that's because she loves me so much. Mm-hmm. And so my first half of my group is surrounded with my family. And then you go out to my team, which includes Bruce Johnson, who has been on my team the longest. He's been my strength coach for 8 years. We met at UT. He's actually the person that brought me to GMC.
That's right.
He's the person that brought me to my church home. So not only is he my strength coach, but he's one of my greatest friends and has been on this journey with me and encouraged me the entire time. I have the best coach in the world at the 400. I have an amazing sports psychologist who is an amazing Christian. And so not only does he help me with my head on the track, but just my head around life. And so I try to surround myself with very positive people. And the main thing that I've done, and I've reevaluated my team, is I make sure everybody I'm connected with is connected to God. Because it's so important. I realized I had someone on my team prior who I started to trust, and I realized, wait a minute. How do you trust somebody so much if they're not trusting in God? And so I just made sure that everybody on my team loves the Lord. And so whatever word I get from them, I can believe that it's coming from above. Mm-hmm.
Since Bruce is here, I thought he was going to be at the other service. Bruce, I want you to come up here for just a second, because I want to tell you all something about how life works and how every decision is interconnected. I want them to see you, Bruce. I'll tell the story, but I want them to see you. Come over here, man. Okay, of course. Many of you don't know this, but Bruce had a great job at UT. He was the strength coach at UT. We had a class at this church. What did we call that class, Bruce? You don't even remember it. It was entrepreneurship, how to be an entrepreneur. Bruce took the class on entrepreneurship. By the way, walking with God is a very dangerous thing. C.S. Lewis said this: God is risky, but he's good. Yeah, and that's what Bruce stepped into. Had a great job at UT. In that class, God told Bruce to start his own business, to go out on his own and begin coaching athletes himself. Now, can you imagine the magnitude of faith that took? Bruce did it, and because Bruce did it, he's a part of Sanya's joy. But not only that, Bruce, who else do you coach? You coach a couple of more athletes.
My honey.
Yeah.
Aaron Ross, Cedric Benson, Derek Johnson, who's a member of this church, Michael Tinsley,
silver
won the
medalist.
silver medal. Bianca Knight. Starting to lose track. Lamar Houston plays with the Oakland Raiders. Chris Obanaya, who was with the Cleveland Browns. Wow.
The list goes on and on.
Yeah. So I thought you were going to be at 12, because that's when you usually come. But isn't that amazing?
I'm gonna pray about coming back.
You're going to pray about coming back to 12. Thank you. I mean, God has been good enough for you to move to 12. Because I remember when you just had Sanya and Aaron. I remember that. All them people God gave you, you can move to 12. No, that's right. Sanya, you wanted to say something else.
Yes, I wanted to share one more little story. I was thinking about it on my drive here, and it's just this lesson or this journey that I've been on has, and you just used the word, has taught me so much about faith. And so for so long, I felt like faith was this like phantom word, you know, this thing that you hear about. But what is faith? What is faith? And so I wanted to share this story with you about faith, and I hope that it resonates. You might not believe it, but it's true. So I was at the Prefontaine Classic this year, and the Prefontaine is in early June. And so this race is right before our Olympic trials. And so this is a big test for us. Like, you know, where am I? Am I ready? In 2011, because I was injured the year prior, I didn't run as well. So I had lost. It was my worst season of my whole career. I had a losing season for the first time ever. So I get to the meet, and I have this great peace that comes over me. I feel like, yes, you know, it's going to work out. Everything's going to be great. But I step on the track, and right when I step on the track, the wind starts gushing. And in the 400, you know, that's the one thing you don't want. You don't want it to be windy because you can't run your best race. And I stood there, and in the moment, I said, with as much confidence as I would say to PC, pass me that mic because I can see it as tangible, I said, wind be still. And the wind stopped. And I'm going to say, what I'm trying to tell you guys is not that I can control the weather. It wasn't about controlling the weather. What it was in that moment, the wind was my fear. It was my doubts. It was the devil. And when I said to the wind, when I said, be still, what I was saying was, God, I trust you. God, you have dominion over everything, including my doubts and my fears. And in that moment, the wind stopped, and I ran. I beat the defending world champion who had taken my title the year before, and I ran the fastest time in the world. And I was coming off the turn. I was behind, which I'm not used to being behind in my races. But I believed so much because, like I said, when I said that right before I got in the blocks, that was God telling me, I got you. And so what I want to say to you guys today is that if you do have faith the size of a mustard seed, if you tell your circumstance, be still, God will show up, and God just has showed out so much in my life, and I just wanted to share that with you guys.
Bruce, I think you can support this. I have had the privilege of meeting a lot of great people, and it's consistent across the board. Great people have great souls. They don't delve in a lot of foolishness. They don't have time to be talking about people, all of these things. Friend, let me tell you something. If you want to do something great, it really requires great character. Bruce, will you say that's true?
Very true.
It really requires great character. And that great character usually involves being supported by a team. Sanya is here. Bruce is here because they've got good people around them. And they actually listen to them. You understand? Yeah,
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just got so much to share with y'all.
You got the mic.
But I also wanted to share, too, about when I was going through my team, because I was thinking of that story. I wasn't able to say everything I wanted to say, but I left out one of the biggest parts of our team, and that's PC. And I wanted to share with y'all, we were in, and Miss Kathy, we were in London, and they came. I went to PC's office. He's like, I'm coming. And I was like, PC, everything really gonna come? He said, I'm coming. That was it. I'm coming. And PC was in London at the house chilling. And I know PC, we were there.
I didn't tell y'all that, did I? Anyway.
The morning of my race, as you guys can imagine, it's August 5th. I'm about to run the 400. It's a lot going on. Like, this is the moment I've been waiting for all my life. I decided to not stay in the village every night because it's so overwhelming. Like, the Olympics is just constantly on you. You're in the village. So I decided to stay with my family. And the morning of my final, PC and Kathy came over. It was so fitting. I ran on a Sunday, on God's day. And PC came over, and he shared a word with us, y'all. I had a private service in London from the one and only PC. And I just thought, look at God. He talked about Jabez. And it was just, my entire family was like, I got to move to Texas. I need to hear a word every Sunday. And so that's what I'm talking about when you say you have a great team. To have PC there, Bruce was there, my coach was there, my sports psychologist, my family, everybody. And I just knew something special was going to happen because I just saw God working through everybody around me. So thank you. It was just amazing to have you guys share that experience with us.
Terrific. Come on, give Sanya a hand, give Bruce a hand, give God a hand.